Hi, I'm Dan Hegstad. Welcome to my blog and podcast, Next Steps, Tools for Transforming from Coping to Thriving. This is based on my book, which is the same title. It is a paperback. It is an Audible audio book read by me, and it's a Kindle e-reader. All those are available on Amazon, and the link to the Amazon where you can buy it is on my website, danhegstad.com. I am a speaker and trainer, and if you or somebody you know would like to book me as a speaker, that information is on my website also, danhegstad.com. And we've got a couple more subscribers, so isn't that nice to see? I don't promote this at all other than just throw it out there and make it available. So if you think you know people who might benefit, I hope you'd share it with them. So last time we talked about having tough conversations and saying what needs to be said. And I said that this episode, I was going to talk about how to apologize. And I am going to do that, but I'm going to wait till the end because I do want to flesh out more of the saying what needs to be said. So let's dive into that. I'm going to give you some kind of real world scenarios. But a lot of this you just have to figure out on your own because, once you see the concept, you get it, and you're going to have to figure these out. What are you going to say and how you're going to act and react. You're going to have to do that every time anyway. There is a website I'd like to suggest. It's called Love and Logic, and they are terrific. Love and Logic, not sure if it's a .com or .org, but it's a great organization, and they've got all kinds of ways that you can act and interact and just ways to deal in a healthy way. One example I use in my stress management is how to not be the sergeant parent and how to not be the helicopter parent. There are options, and Love and Logic gives you some great ideas on how to do that. And there's just so much there. So Love and Logic, check it out. It's good stuff. So saying what needs to be said, how to have adult conversations, and it's about being an adult and allowing others to be adults too. And they may not be adults, at least not right away, but that's not your problem. You are going to be the adult. You're going to say what needs to be said. You're going to take care of yourself in a positively proactive way. One thing that I think is really important, especially in relationships, is to talk on a regular basis. My wife and I just like to go out for a drive in the evening. I like to find a road I haven't been down, throw the dog in the back, and go see what's down that road. And it's just a great way to talk without TV on and all that. It's a good thing to do. When my son was little, I realized that sometimes you need to have a conversation. Now, but my parents, they didn't talk to me much anyway, but if they said, "Come here, we need to talk," I knew it was a bad thing. I had my guard up. So when my son was little, we would say, "Can we talk? Come here, we need to chat about something." And more often than not, it was something good. And we did that intentionally, and I suggest you do that too. So when you say, "Can we talk?" or "We need to have a conversation," it's not a bad thing. That's pretty important. People don't have their guard up, and it can be as often good as it can be maybe somewhat challenging. So think of that. I talked about finding softer language, the language of diplomacy. And rather than, "How could you be so fucking stupid?" or you don't need to go there. Softer language. And it is intentionally saying things like, "Well, I could be wrong, but, I think this." Or, "I wonder if." Not saying, "I'm absolutely right. I wonder if." Even if you think you're exactly right. It's just softer language, and people are more likely to listen to it, even if they don't quite get exactly what you're saying. I'm really careful with my words. I say these things a lot. I modify what I'm about to say, and I try not to say I'm absolutely right and this is the way it is. And people still hear it the wrong way, but you're doing the best you can. So I wonder if, or I hear what you're saying, but that's not my understanding. And I frequently say, I understand what you're saying. My view is this. What do you think? What if this? What if that? So if I understand you correctly and you repeat back what you think you're hearing, and if you're correct, that's good. And if you're not, they can correct you. That's how we understand each other. I would describe it differently. There's that. Somebody thinks I think something, or here's what happened in this situation. Well, I'd describe it differently. I can see I wasn't clear. Let me try again. Another way to look at it is this. Or, do you think you could have done that better? How could you have handled that better? Now, I run into this a lot when I'm talking with people who are acquaintances, people I like, people who like me, but they may be listening to a news source that isn't quite credible. And rather than tell them how wrong they are, I will say, my understanding is this. I wasn't aware, I thought that had been shown to be incorrect. I think what's right is, and you're not saying this is right, you're not saying you're wrong, you're saying, and if you have credibility with that person, they're going to think that's the way to do it. So let's talk some real-world scenarios here. And again, just a few of these. I'm not going to go too deep into it because you can't cover everything. And this is Dear Abby kind of stuff. I didn't get invited to my son's wedding and things like that. How do you handle it? Rather than just be angry about it or blow up about it, you learn to say what needs to be said. You ask the question. I was surprised I wasn't invited to the wedding. Did I miss something? Well, then you find out. Then you got to deal with it from there. Again, you be the adult and you expect others to be the adult. Do not expect a particular reaction. Oh, they're just going to blow up. Maybe they are. It's not your fault. You're just asking the question, and you're doing so without emotion. You're doing so just inquiring. You are doing so with all the love, care, and compassion that another human being deserves. That's really important. That's what makes this all work. You're not coming in angry. You're coming in looking for information or just explaining things and expecting and allowing the other person to be a human. I think in general, no matter what happens, do not lie. You don't have to lie. You should not lie. Even white lies aren't necessary. It just isn't. It isn't a good idea. Tell the truth or nothing. And you don't have to explain yourself. On the other hand, just saying no, that isn't very kind either. That's not loving. It may be the truth, but it's not probably the best way to handle things. So you could say, thanks, but that's just not my thing. A friend of mine invited me to a casino. And my first thought is, you know what? I'd rather eat sawdust than go to a casino. I hate casinos. A lot of bad energy in casinos. But it was nice that they asked and invited, and I say, no, that's just kind of not my thing. It's a better way to handle it. Well, thank you, but I prefer this. What restaurant do you want to go to? If you say, I don't care, and then they choose one you don't like, you got no reason to complain. But you are allowed to say, I really don't care, but I got to tell you, I don't care for sushi or hot, real spicy like Thai food. And that's all you need to say and go on from there. There's other things I would prefer, but it doesn't matter that much. I'm part of a group. Just say what you need and leave it at that. And you can do so in a nice way. How about, let me think about it and get back to you. And then you get back to them because you're not putting them off. You're not just putting them off for the moment. You are going to get back to them. That's what a responsible adult does. So there's some generic ways you can handle things. Now, real world, your coworker has an annoying habit. It's probably nothing you can do or nothing you maybe should do. You could have a nice conversation, but a lot of times it's something that should be taken up with the boss and do that. But you can say, for example, my example is Bob here. Bob, I find it hard to concentrate when you talk on your phone or when you sing along or when you play the music that loud. And okay, Bob's going to do what Bob's going to do, and you leave it at that. Again, probably not a lot you can do about that. How about if you've been invited to a party and you don't want to go? Well, I think part of it depends on, is the party 2 weeks from now or is it right now? But again, don't lie. Oh, I'm busy that night. No. Or you're invited on a date and you just don't want to go with the guy. Oh, I have to wash my hair that night. Yeah, okay, I remember high school. No, just say, yeah, I think I'd prefer not to. And don't make it personal. You may say, and I've done this before, thanks, but I think I'm going to pass, but please invite me another time. Okay, that's a nice thing to say. If you just don't want to go tonight, you say, oh, thanks for the invite, but I think I prefer to stay home tonight. And an adult is going to accept that. I think the biggest thing is just don't lie. You don't have to lie. Tell your best truth. And be nice. How about reporting bad service? Oh, we hear this all the time, from servers in restaurants. People just fuming about the food or whatever, and it's like, come on, grow up. It's just food. It's just service, But here's what I've found. A good business will be very happy to hear a complaint. I was in business for 45 years, and do you like to hear it? No, but I learned to, because it means the person cares enough to tell you about it. The people who don't care, the ones that are lost, are never going to tell you, but they're going to tell everybody else. So if you are a good business, you will be very happy when somebody is reporting where you could have done better. So be aware of that. If you're the customer and you need to report that things didn't work quite as well as you want, or the food wasn't good or service wasn't good, you find a manager of some sort and you explain what happened and say, you guys could have done better. You dropped the ball on this one. And don't demand anything. You're there trying to help. And I think that's the best way to handle it. You're not going to accomplish anything by being angry. Yeah, maybe you'll get a free meal or whatever out of it. Oh, whoopee for you. That's not what an adult does. That's not what you do. We're better than that. Bob, again, you loaned Bob $50 and he hasn't paid you back. So, again, it's just a matter of saying something. Bob, remember that $50 I loaned you? And he's, he either forgot or, let him, maybe he's trying to stiff you. I don't know, but you assume he's not. So, Bob, I remember I loaned you $50 a few weeks back. When can I expect to see that? And again, you're not mad, you're not angry, whatever. That's okay. How about if you received a gift you don't like? It's happened to all of us. I had my ex-mother-in-law gave me a yellow sweater. I hate yellow and I don't wear sweaters. And I don't know what was going through her head, but I got a yellow sweater out of the deal. And of course, I'm never going to wear it. It got regifted, and that's fine. If you get a gift you don't like, you say thank you. You do not lie about how you're going to use it or how wonderful it is. You just say, thank you. I appreciate the thought so much. That is so kind of you. Go on and on if you want. But again, don't lie about it. Now, once you get a gift, it is yours to do with as you see fit. You can throw it away, you can burn it, you can re-gift it, you can stick it in a closet and never see the light of day ever again. If you are the giver of a gift and you have expectations, you're not being an adult. So think about the gift you're giving, but understand you may miss the mark occasionally, and they may not use it. They may re-gift it or whatever. I'm just fine with that. I don't care. But if you get a gift, accept it in the best way it could possibly have been intended. And I think that works with language too. People say dumb and wrong things, and it can sound snarky, but try and think of, well, what's the best way that could have been intended, and go with that, because you just don't know. So if you get a gift, say thank you, I appreciate it. You're appreciating not the gift itself, but the sentiment that comes with it. Bob again. Oh, Bob's engaged to a woman that it just doesn't seem, this is a mistake. You and everybody else can see it. Bob's a good friend. And what do? Do you say something or not say anything? I've been in this situation, and we did go to Bob and said, Bob, I'm concerned, I'm happy for you, but I'm concerned Mary maybe just isn't the right fit for you. Have you thought it through? And again, you're doing it with all the love and compassion. Now, Bob, I'm sure, is going to marry Mary. But you have done what a good friend should do. Again, without anger, without accusation, without the presumption that Bob's being, a dumbass and shouldn't do this. You're just asking the question, and Bob knows. Down deep, Bob knows you're right anyway, probably, although you could be wrong. In the situation I was in, it lasted a couple of years, but it's okay. That's okay. But the point is, you're not afraid to say what needs to be said. Now, there's 10,000 other scenarios, but you get what's going on here. We think about what we're going to say beforehand. You leave your anger somewhere else, your judgments, your disappointment, all those things. Leave that somewhere else and come in and have an adult conversation. Again, you don't know how that person's going to act or react, and it could trigger all kinds of things, but you remain calm, and I understand. That's what you got to do. That's the best you can do. But you can do this, and it's a tremendous stress reliever. To be able to say what needs to be said, it's one of the best things you can do to relieve stress in your life, is just be open about who you are and what you think. So let's talk about how to apologize. First of all, realizing you've done something wrong, big or small, and being proactive about it, understanding who was affected by it and going to that person or people and saying, hey, I screwed up here and I am so sorry. It's hard to do at first, but once you realize how healthy it is for you and the relationship and everything, you will actually look forward to it. Hopefully you don't have to do it very often, but if you do, being an adult is going to those that are affected or wronged by it and say, I screwed up, I apologize. And I don't think you make excuses. Maybe there are some circumstances folks don't understand. You may want to do that. But again, you're not making excuses. You're just saying, I don't know what I was thinking, is probably the best one. Or I was just so wrong and I apologize. I'm sorry. I will do my best to do better next time. And then you do better next time. You really work at changing your behavior. People are pretty good at spotting a lie, and if you say you're going to do better and then don't, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt once, but probably not even twice. And so that's why it's so important to tell the truth and make promises that you can keep. It's good to make amends when you can and when necessary. It may not be necessary. Maybe just the apology is enough. But making amends to those you've wronged is pretty important. And you decide how you're going to handle that. So this is actually pretty simple stuff. Just knowing when you've made a mistake. Be proactive if you can. Now, you may make a mistake and not even know it, and somebody calls you on it, and then you look at it and you go, oh my God, look what I did, and you apologize. and you move on from there. But if you can sincerely apologize, or if you can be proactive in your apology, people are very forgiving because we're all humans. We've all been there. We've all made mistakes. And the worst thing we find is people who deny and obfuscate and no, somebody else's fault, and you don't understand me, and that's not what adults do. That's not what people who are moving from coping to thriving do. That's not what you do. You admit responsibility, and then we get to move on. And so we appreciate the new subscribers. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. If you've got something you'd like me to cover, I've got a list of, 50 more topics I can cover. But if there's something you or somebody knows you'd like me to cover, leave that in the comments, and we'll see where that goes. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Dan Hegstead. This is Next Steps, Tools for Transforming from Coping to Thriving.